You're listening to Two Chunks and a Hunk. Movie musings for mostly everyone.
Welcome to Two Chunks and a Hunk. My name is Jordan Wonders, and this week I'm your chunk.
I'm Doge, Ethan Hunt, as he rides a motorcycle higher up the mountain. When do I start going downhill? Benji Dunn, knowing that the jump is coming. Won't be Chunk.
I'm Carter. His fate is written. Shall we write yours too? If anything happens to them, there is no place that I won't go to hunk you. That is written.
A Tom Cruise voice is more in the diction than the tone, I
100%.
think.
I think it is.
It's more in the shape of the consonants than the position of the vowels.
And it's not even diction. It's like, do you know that I'm Tom Cruise? It's kind of how he talks.
Yeah.
Do you know who I am? I did just buy an old cruise vessel so that we could all stay here to film this movie. Do you know who I am?
The Tom Cruise. So we could all go on the Tom Cruise.
Nice.
There it is.
I watched today Pom Klementieff.
Yes.
Her, what's it called? Fantasy football, like diss track video, music video.
Oh, yeah.
Against Chris Hemsworth that Simon Pegg directed while they were making this movie.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was a blast.
She is so funny. And I think she and Simon Pegg are like pretty good friends. Have you seen the interview that she gives where Simon Pegg is in her ear?
Yes, I have.
Telling her what to say for those answers? It's like Impractical Jokers.
Yes,
I have not seen that.
It's extremely good. Pom is
very
so
impressed
funny.
with her ability to keep a straight face in that interview because she's
Yeah.
saying some pretty wild stuff. And
She's
it's
very unique on multiple
Yeah.
levels. And it's really fresh, really fun.
Speaking of unique, out of the three of us, two of us are the Chunk and one of them is the Hunk. Would the real Chunk please stand up and tell us why he is described as thus?
Everybody, he tried so
The
hard.
real Hunk. Don't want the real Hunk.
I'm
please stand up?
Sparkus. I fixed our toilet at our house.
Wow. You get your hands in there?
Myself. Got my hands in there, dude.
Yeah,
There's something about that.
Mm,
Now, it was.
that's a man's work.
Here's how good I am at this. I'm not going to even know the technical terms for it.
Sure.
I didn't go like into where the poop goes. I did
Sure.
go.
Okay.
I did go where the balloons are and like the levers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looked up something. On
So was
YouTube.
problem number one that there were balloons?
No. No,
Is
those
that
are meant to
problem
be
one?
there.
Oh.
Big circus fans. Love Vegas. It's
Sure.
a theme in our bathroom.
That makes sense.
But yeah, went in there, fixed it. Could I come to your
Nice.
house and do it again? Yes, but you've got like 5 days before it's out of my mind forever.
yeah.
And I'll just go back to the drawing board.
I could go
Watch
break
that-
my toilet
bookmark
right
that YouTube
now,
video.
probably.
Doesn't it? Isn't it? It feels like you're saving hundreds of dollars, doesn't it? If you can do a home project yourself. Well, I guess y'all rent. So I guess you wouldn't have to pay.
I just call a stranger to come inside my house. and fix
Gosh, man.
things.
I miss that.
Yeah,
I
it's
really
pretty
miss
nice.
that.
It's pretty nice. What a weird flex on us you've started today's episode
Yeah.
with.
I didn't mean to.
Oh, I forgot. You guys are poorsies.
I forgot. That's right.
I'm higher class.
I forgot you two are poorsies. Now, can you vote?
Yeah.
Now, can you vote? I'm not. I suppose I'm unsure. Can you vote?
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. We're gonna talk a
good.
lot.
We can.
We're gonna talk.
I can, and I have. voted.
About this movie today. I'm very excited for this discussion, and I'm ready to jump right in if I'm being honest. So I think it's time that we reveal the name of the movie, which is, of course, known as Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
A story of an old prospector following a doctor after a mine explodes, trying to find out who's alive and who's dead. He's dead, I reckon. Dead Reckoning.
He's dead, I reckon.
Okay,
I think
didn't
that-
know.
What about this one? I think he's dead. He gone. Yep, dead. I don't know why he's there to say that when there's a doctor.
That's solo. That's called solo character work, and I think that's really great and brave. Doge,
Thank
can
you.
you give us a synopsis of this movie? So that
Which one? The Prospector one or the Tom Cruise one?
Dealer's Chocho, I'm going to say.
What?
We call our dog Chocho. That's funny.
Dealer's Chocho.
Go ahead.
This week's IMDb synopsis is anonymous, which of course means that it is made out of data and ones and zeros like the entity.
Exactly like that.
Ethan Hunt and the IMF team must track down a terrifying new weapon that threatens all of humanity if it falls into the wrong hands. With control of the future and the fate of the world at stake, a deadly race around the globe begins. Confronted by a mysterious, all-powerful enemy, Ethan is forced to consider that nothing can matter more than the mission, not even the lives of those he cares about most.
Dang, dude. That's what gets you.
Wow.
Am I alone in thinking that could describe any number of the past few of these?
There's a handful.
Yeah, sure. It's fairly generic, I suppose. Fairly generic, I suppose. Man, I really want to talk about the entity. So before we do that, though, I do have to say, for one of us on this pod, this was our first week inside the world of Mission Impossible.
I've been a member of IMF for about 6 calendar days at this point, and none before.
Also, the gumption for them to just hold on to the IMF, even though it's the silliest name.
Yeah.
For a group. Way to freaking
Pretty
just stick
ridiculous.
to your guns. That's a Tom Cruise move right there.
I've got a lot to say regarding not IMF, but just sort of the cojones to hold on to that sort of thing. But before we do that, I do just want to say 2 things. One, I saw a TikTok today with with Rebecca Ferguson and Simon Pegg, where they discovered that the Mission Impossible theme song was intentionally written in Morse code. Dun, dun, too long is M. Dun, dun, too short is I. So over and over again does this theme song spell out M-I,
Me.
Much like
Interesting.
Oops.
Yeah.
Dun,
Oops,
dun.
all
That's the one.
Muppets.
That's the one Muppet one.
Oops, all Muppets.
No more Muppets.
That's,
we know you guys
got
are
Muppets out of the way.
ravenous for that sweet, sweet Muppet content. Obviously, Kermit would be Ethan Hunt. Anyway, moving on. Doge, can we go around the horn here? The 3 of us, but specifically zeroed in on Doge. Let's go 1 through 6 and talk about sort of general overall yay or naying of the whole thing, with some thoughts included. Doge, give us your thoughts on Mission Impossible, the OG.
Mission Impossible 1, extremely yay.
Yeah.
Absolutely love this.
Very good.
Watched this for the first time about a week ago.
Love to hear that.
Felt immediately like timeless.
Yeah.
And yet also incredibly
So dated.
specific to that time period.
So
like
dated.
Speed,
With
dude,
the,
like oh yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
a lot
oh
of
my
stuff
gosh.
around that time.
It was
I love
so
that
much
flavor,
fun.
by
And I
the
think
way. 90s action.
so much of it is Danny Elfman's score for that movie elevates it, I think, beyond a really typical kind of Y2K era action movie, which we'll definitely talk about in just a second. And elevates into something that actually has flavor and has style in a way that ages really, really well.
I agree.
Love Mission Impossible.
I agree.
Love John Voight.
I pretty much agree on every
Voight's
front.
great.
I think Mission Impossible 1 is just fantastic. It also has that thing where it's kind of, the movie itself feels scrappy, almost like it's like, we deserve to be here. And I like that.
Rocky a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I like that energy.
So for Dead Reckoning, at its release, Tom Cruise is older than John Voight was in Mission Impossible.
Holy
Yep.
moly, first of all.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Cruise is 61.
61
That
years.
is genuinely insane.
Yeah.
Isn't it wild? Yeah. Bit wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bit wild, isn't it?
Carter seems like you're in on MI1 as well.
Yeah, dude. I can do.
Let's talk-
I'll wait till the end, but I would love to rank. I can rank. I don't want to give away where.
Yeah,
Dead
that's good.
Reckoning is
Let's
for me,
rank.
but
Let's rank at the very end of today's episode. Let's talk Mission Impossible 2 briefly.
No,
that's a thumbs down
It's
for me
so
as well.
bad. Oh my goodness, it's so bad. I wrote in my notes. So I took like pretty extensive notes on every of the Missions Impossible.
Excellent.
I'll probably post these in our Discord. That'll be something maybe fun. Just give me a reason to have taken these notes. I wrote down that it feels like Geely. It's like so, like the sexiness is so forced in Mission Impossible 2.
Which is a huge bummer
And there
because
is-
Michelle Monaghan is fantastic and totally.
Michelle Monaghan is not in that one.
Wait, which one is she in?
Michelle Monaghan is in Mission Impossible 3.
she's
That's the one
wasted.
with
She's
his
wasted in 3.
where Michelle Monaghan. It starts with Philip Seymour Hoffman about to kill Michelle Monaghan
That's
in
right.
Mission Impossible 3.
That's right.
yeah.
Mission Impossible 2 is Dandy Wayne Newton
Yeah, that's right.
from
Yeah, that's
Westworld.
tough. That's big
They
tough.
have no chemistry. The music is terrible. It's Hans Zimmer doing a really bad job, and I just really missed Danny Elfman's music
Sure.
from the first one. It's
Sure.
just bad all around.
Understandable. I think I agree.
Anthony
Yeah.
Hopkins is in it. Carter, how do you feel about Anthony Hopkins in that one?
That's so sad to me. Hopkins and Connery have such stinkers like this.
Oh, for
such
sure.
stinkers. Like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, there's Connery.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what?
I'm borderline
Why are you
certain
here?
that's how they have the hits they do, though, is because they're just taking stuff. They're taking work. You know, and not
Yeah.
everybody can be. Not everybody can
just
be
so
Paul Thomas
different.
or not Paul Thomas Anderson. That's the director. Who am I thinking of?
Don't know.
His actor,
I don't
his
know.
muse. There Will Be Blood. Lincoln.
Daniel Day-Lewis?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Thank
Daniel
you.
Day-Lewis.
Good grief.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
thought I was
Wow.
having.
Oh, it's a three-name
episode.
boy.
I was having
A three-name
an- I
actor. I was about to say John Wilkes Booth.
Hopkins Connery gravitas. I think the fact that they do
Yeah.
silly things,
Yeah.
they feel
Sure.
not silly at all. Anyways.
Sure.
So
Three.
about an hour into Mission Impossible 2, I fully checked out and started making making fake Muppets scenes to post on TikTok. So I think
that'll do it. That'll stack.
I'm
it.
happy I did that instead.
Mission Impossible 3, I've already revealed my thoughts about wasting Michelle Monaghan, who's so fantastic and I
Yeah.
don't feel like gets her time in the sun. However, for Jordan, I do like Mission Impossible 3.
Mission Impossible 3 is
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's really
Directed by J.J. Abrams, like totally reinvigorated and sort of soft rebooted the series.
Yeah, it
'Cause that's
kind of
where
turns it into what it is now.
we get Simon Pegg for the first time there.
Is that
We get an
3?
actual supporting.
That's not Ghost
We
Protocol?
get a supporting cast around Ethan. Mm-mm.
Very good.
It's Simon Pegg because him and J.J. Abrams are boys because the next thing they worked on together was Star Trek 2009.
Sure. Makes sense to me. Carter, you're in on MI3?
Uh-huh. Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman is diabolical.
Yes.
Truly.
I think series best villain. I think.
Yeah.
Dude, I think
he
I
is the
agree.
Series best
I think I
foil
agree.
to
He's
Tom Cruise.
one of
Yep.
he's maybe the only one I'm afraid of. Well, no. There's another one I'm afraid of, but
Yeah. Okay. 4, Ghost Protocol.
Yeah. my favorite.
It's so good.
might be my favorite.
It's my
My
second
rankings, rankings, I'm back and forth between 4 and 6 for number 1. But
Yeah.
4, the scene in Dubai.
Yeah.
Ghost
is-
Protocol is my very favorite.
Ghost Protocol, correct me if I'm wrong, is the one that introduces the like umbrella type thing that projects
Yeah.
whatever's behind it. So
Yeah, and they're
effectively-
slowly moving closer to that guard. Yeah.
What a scene is this?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh my goodness, it's so good.
The Burj Khalifa is the best action set piece I have ever seen in a movie.
So sick.
And I will stamp that right now. In my notes, I wrote down real actors on real skyscrapers, and you can tell Tom
you can
Cruise.
tell.
It's fantastic. It's so good.
dude.
Chelsea,
Totally agree.
Chelsea, like wiped her hands on my leg.
Oh, I was so sweaty.
in that scene, and I was like, ooh, but I
It's
don't.
incredible.
This is the first one with Jeremy Renner in it too, and Jeremy Renner is real fun
Yes,
in these
great.
movies.
Yes.
Really enjoy Renner in
He's
these.
great.
MI5. Maybe the most forgettable Mission Impossible for me.
Yeah, the big set piece in this one is the underwater, like water cooled computer scene.
Yeah.
Where he's trying to swap that. Is
Yeah.
this where we introduced Rebecca Ferguson?
Ilsa, is first in
Yeah,
5.
I think this is her first one.
She deserves at least a point bump on the scale because Rebecca
Yeah,
Ferguson
I think
is
so too.
always a net positive in
She's
everything.
amazing.
This is the first one with Alec Baldwin as well.
Yes, great.
Very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
it was good. I loved the ending of 5. The ending of 5 is when
Yeah.
we have the British Prime Minister
Yeah.
discovering and fessing up.
Tom
to,
Hollander. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
The end
It's
is
been a while.
great.
Yep.
Super good twisty.
Yeah.
End is
This
very
is
good.
the one with flute gun and with nightstick gun
Sure.
at the opera, which are both cool versions
Super
of gun.
cool.
Yes.
Super cool.
Okay. Now let's talk Fallout. My number 1. I'll spoil my ratings now. It's the best. It is the
Really?
Henry Cavill cocking his arms in the bathroom sends it over the
Did you
top
know that was
by
improv?
itself. That's amazing. That's absolutely incredible.
It's so cool.
Everything about Fallout is good. Is Fallout the one with the nighttime skydive, like the smoke
yeah, big.
trail skydive,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Literally
because I don't
the
remember a
most,
smoke
like,
trail.
breath snatching scene?
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally.
I don't remember a nighttime skydive in it.
Is it not the one where he
it
jumps
might
out
not
and the
have been
cameraman jumps
night,
over him?
But it's
think
the
you're
one
thinking
where
of a
they both
different
have the
movie.
I'm
oxygen.
not. I'm 100% not.
It's through a storm.
Yeah, it's
Gets
through a
struck by
storm. They
lightning.
skydive into Paris. They both have.
Yeah,
him
let's
and Cavill both
pretend
have
that
the
what I
oxygen
said
tanks.
was so far off base for what actually happened that we're all confused.
I didn't say I was confused.
No, I do think I was conflating
This is the
that
one-
and Star Trek with the smoke trails.
Uh-huh.
There's
The
also the
smoke
smoke
trails
trails
and
like Godzilla.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
One of the best trailers.
This one was tough for me. I think this one was a letdown to me because it felt Fallout was. I was hoping. So I love much about it except for the actual like the filmmaking of it side. Like I love the story, the action, choreography, all of it. But like the editing and the music choice is so clearly trying to be Christopher Nolan. It's not trying. It's emulating rather than. I mean, because we have the transport scene through the middle of I think that's Paris, which is just almost exactly the Joker transport scene from The Dark Knight. And the music is so trying to be Hans Zimmer with like these big, like deep, swelly stuff. I don't know. I was hoping for something with a little bit more like unique series identity. I think my favorites are Mission Impossible and Ghost Protocol, which are the two that to me have the most distinct flavor of like, there is nothing else that feels like this to me. So I think that's, I don't know. I loved Fallout though. I mean, it's a difference between a 7.5 and an 8 for me, with stuff like this.
It was good.
It's so good.
We lost Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's out. He disagrees with me, so he's just going to be quiet.
It's just so objectively the best one that it's crazy to hear you say that. But yes,
it's not.
It's objectively the best one.
No, it's definitely not.
Objectively the best one. And it's not even close. No, it is close because Ghost Protocol is so good. Yeah,
Ghost
but okay.
my
So
favorite by a mile.
Here's where I want to launch into our discussion about Dead Reckoning Part 1. The whole reason for doing this, and that is I discovered within myself an analogy for Mission Impossible that helped me even further wrap my brain around what I love about this series, and it is simply that in a world where the Fast and Furious franchise is monster energy, Mission Impossible does in fact give us wings and is just Red Bull.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
It's
that's
just
good,
one of them
like
makes
that.
you feel
Slick.
like a burnout, and one of them makes you feel like a finance bro. That's the only difference between these two franchises.
I dig that, dude.
Yeah. Yep.
Every movie
is so funny.
is just MacGuffin and then stunts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every single one.
Yeah.
And it works 7 out of 7 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works. I think for me, there was a John Wick 4 about it, which again, John Wick 4, phenomenal.
Sure.
But I was hung up in John Wick 4 about how much time we spent spoon feeding plot to people. And I think now clearly this was over 2.5 hour long movie.
Yeah, it's a long movie.
2 hours and 43 minutes.
It didn't really have too much to me from like, okay, well, let's stretch it out into 2 parts.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it kind of did feel like let's stretch out part 1. I think there was a lot of time to sit together and be like, but really what that means is no. Yes. And like just the moment that the first time we see Carrie Ellis.
I always just say L's
That
because I
scene,
gave up.
I had to like reevaluate the rest of the Mission Impossible series, and I'm like, does this happen all the time? Why does this one feel so
talky,
dramatic with everybody talking? And this has to happen with movies this high paced, and I don't have an issue with that. It's all over James Bond. People figure out stuff quick. It's National Treasure. It's this does this and that does that. It's Sherlock Holmes, right? But it just felt so drawn out. In like 2 or 3 moments, when we find out the entity is actually running the club, it's like, okay, I kind of caught that when we walked in, and we're still just talking. We've really got to lather on. Man, Ethan doesn't want anybody he loves to die, though. He didn't want anybody he loves to die. And so my collective super dump, and usually movies that I like a lot, I dump first. It's like a meal. I realized how much time this entire series has spent on having us know the background of our lead and hardly anybody else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so freaking interested in Ilsa. I want to know everything about Benji.
Yeah.
Why are we not talking about the people that you're willing to give your life for? Because when someone like Grace shows up and you decide, old love dead, new love here, I'll do anything for you. Okay, there's a Captain America about that. That's attractive, but I realize how Ethan Hunt this whole series is. And is that silly? I looked at the Fast and Furious franchise too, right? I can't help but go back and forth.
Sure.
But I strangely, I know a lot about Letty and like,
right.
You know what though? You know
Vin
what the
Diesel's
thing with Fast and
brother.
Furious is?
Yeah.
is like everybody to get added to the crew, they have to pay their dues and be the villain of the previous movie, where we get the villain's backstory every time. And so by the time they're added to the crew,
that's funny.
I know your whole deal.
It's just a little
That's a good point.
factory. That's a good point. But I did feel like we've had a lot of time, and in seeing how much time we spent on this movie, which again is fine, especially after we see Ilsa gone. I'm like, man, I wish I knew more about her.
Don't buy
Ilsa
that,
dying and like, Ilsa's definitely alive. With the Ilsa dying in this, air quotes, and then the like real huge emphasis we place on like, we were each in this situation. We'd done all these crimes. We had the choice. Do we join Impossible Mission Force? It's like, man, number one, should know way more about Ving Rhames by this point. He's the only person besides Tom Cruise who's just been in all of these. And number two, I don't buy that Simon Pegg did crimes first. I think he applied to work at this intelligence agency.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just,
absolutely.
That did not really, and maybe that's my curse for watching 6 of these in the last 5 days.
No, you should be
maybe
able to.
they're not banking on people.
You should be able to
I don't
watch
think
6
that
movies in a row.
That doesn't seem true based on the movies I've seen recently.
Yeah. Does feel like a bit of a retcon. I agree with that. I think that, do you guys remember, did you guys see Skyfall in the theater?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you watched Skyfall? I felt so excited that it was basically like, what if James Bond didn't have gadgets for a little bit?
Yeah.
What could he pull together? I really think, and this doesn't really get set up specifically, but I think between all the betrayal, all of the government bad guy, IMF good guy, but only my squad, all of the make your decision now, and then the fact that the villain is effectively an electronic god, I really think we might see Dead Reckoning Part 2 be like,
they're going to go acoustic.
Mission Impossible Sticks and Stones. Yeah, like I think it could be.
Yeah, I mean, I loved how it felt like the National Security Headquarters or whatever just turned into Apollo 13. I mean, like everything was analog.
That was fun.
I thought that looked so cool. I hope we fight there. That long hall of just computers was it was asking for a sprinting blade hands Tom Cruise to just get after it.
So
he's a great runner.
He's a great runner. I want to talk about the entity for a little bit, but I have to springboard gymnastic style off of my super dump, which will only take but a moment because I don't have all that much to say.
Okay.
In order to talk about the entity first, I must talk about Gabriel, my super dump. Who cares?
What? Here in the middle of what feels, I mean, it is the penultimate. Tom Cruise is only 61.
No.
If Indiana Jones.
I don't think I don't think Dead Reckoning 2 is the last one.
I don't either. So if Harrison Ford is still making an Indiana Jones movie at 81, 82, Tom's got 20 years. Tom's going to live to be 150. I bet there's more. But boy, was this hyped. And it's tough.
Yep.
Because it's like, I wonder if Tom knew. I think he did, because he seems to be the most confident man in himself in the world. The most self-confident person on earth. Did he know the juice that we were going to come in with Maverick, right? Like, here's this.
Right. He didn't know.
He's back kind of thing.
Right.
And then even though Maverick's villain was basically unnamed, just like the original Top Gun, it just felt more formidable than Gabriel.
Gabriel's nothing,
the entity is scary.
Gabriel, it should not have been Gabriel. It should have been Emilio Estevez, who was Jack in Mission Impossible 1, who dies in the very beginning of that first mission.
Yeah, dude, just do that. Because Gabriel is like, especially if you still want to pull on the heartstrings of like, oh my God, are we going to lose Ethan? Which is what they just, I'm saying, lathered it on in this movie. It's like, Gabriel?
Yeah. He didn't
show us the one scene he was ever in. You know, that's what it felt like. It's like we're still pulling the same frame. He's like, you remember he was the one, he was over there. Zoom in. Yeah. That's him. Like, oh, cool.
It was so distinctly lame every time Gabriel was the biggest threat in the room. Now, that said, Entity might be second place Mission Impossible villain for me after Philip Seymour.
Pretty cool.
Entity is my super dump for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Tell me about it.
Wow. Okay.
It is infinitely more interesting for the villain to be a dark counterpoint of the IMF. I was really, really loving the Syndicate stuff of the last two.
It was cool.
Before this, of Spy versus Spy, but not a joke comic strip of like a real cool movie, Spy versus Spy. And having the villain be Skynet feels like something 100% different than this franchise has been up until this point. Having it be a non-human villain, I think immediately necessitates the presence of a character like Gabriel so that we can have any kind of conflict block between our protagonist and our antagonist. And I think it just makes it less interesting. Like, I think it is way cooler to me because it serves the same purpose as the Syndicate of like, the Syndicate, the purpose of a villain in a movie like this is to be like, they know our next step. We've got to improvise. But it's way cooler if that is an enemy intelligence agency who has either a mole, like we've done in a couple of Mission Impossibles, or they're somehow counter spying against the IMF. They're one step ahead through ingenuity rather than they're one step ahead because they know everything. Because it's just this omniscient AI who already knows everything. That was a boring villain to me, which is a bummer. I think the worst thing that any Mission Impossible movie can be is generic. And this felt no different than like God's Eye from Fast and Furious or than like Skynet. Like, I don't know. It's just an AI that knows everything already is a weird choice.
Do we feel like we're trying to be very current eventy?
It did feel very Michael Crichton, very ripped from the headlines.
What if we kind of ex machina a little bit and it has chosen like an actual, almost like Ultron, not like Ultron, but like lifelike looking superhuman type thing? Is that even crazier?
Yeah.
Like, what if it's manifesting itself in like a body of something?
See, that's just not what these are to me. That's Minority Report 2, right? I mean, that's honestly, that's as out of place as Idris Elba Black Superman showing up in a mainline Fast and Furious movie. It's like, that's never what these have been, you know?
Thank you for your super dump.
To me.
Counterpoint. Nuh-uh.
Yeah,
because
fair. That's a good point.
I think it's important to remember that the entity is super dope, and it can. Yeah, I don't know, man. We already did other counterintelligence agency. Let's move past it.
Yeah,
it's time to fight. It's time to fight information itself. I don't know. To me, it's like. It's crazy to me to say that's not what these movies have ever been, because these movies are just. It's Fast and Furious, man. It's spectacle.
Yeah,
it's
they've not ever been any one thing.
Yeah, man. Like, let them fight a computer that can hire assassins for it. Like, that's how you give me the conflict. Let it be Bullet Train, where the entity has put out, $1 billion bounty on Ethan Hunt and any of his associates, dead or alive, and let them fight countless nameless, faceless, cool assassins whose faces can be hidden from closed circuit cameras because the entity can change what they look like. So make them impossible to track. You take away, in a movie where Ethan Hunt and crew frequently win because of the wealth of information at their disposal and the wealth of training that they've been able to go through, let them fight something with even more information and access to anybody with any training. To me, it's stupid. Of course it's stupid. It's Mission Impossible 7 Part 1. Of course it's stupid, but it's awesome, and I love it.
It's tough though, dude, because when you look at
my super pump, very close to
when you look at the entire franchise, there's only one of these movies that was rotten. And it was really rotten. Sure. And then everything else, like even starting at 3, especially at 4, we're 90 plus.
Of course, they should be.
They're great.
It's weird because we also get so close to talking about it like it's Fast and Furious when it's not. It's like.
No, but
it's interesting because
it's just done right.
I know,
right.
But when you go right, so you go into Mission Impossible understanding there's a touch more critical acclaim here.
Sure. Yes.
Better movie making, I would imagine, right? And so that's when I think maybe what Doja's saying too is like when some of these things feel like they come up short or maybe they're a bit lazy, it's like that would be okay in the Fast universe. I eat it up in the Fast universe. But here it's like, oh, bummer.
Yes,
it's 100% supposed to be smarter than this. It's supposed to be Red Bull. That's a monster move.
What I'm saying is it doesn't feel lazy to me, but if it does feel lazy to you, then I can understand the disappointment. My main point with saying they can do whatever they want is because so far they've proven that they basically can. And it works every time. And No, they're not driving a vault as a wrecking ball through the middle of, was it Rio? Is that where they were?
I don't remember. Jason Momoa's dad's city.
Yeah, sure, wherever that is. They're not driving a vault like a wrecking ball down the middle of a city, but they are fighting a supercomputer on a train, and it makes me happy, and I love it. But yes, I
will say, on the train, they're notably not fighting a supercomputer. They're fighting Gabriel, who is a rogue agent who is doing the bidding of the supercomputer, but they're also fighting against like Shea Wiggum. It's the counterintelligence stuff. It's the the man versus man rather than man versus machine conflict on the train that worked so well for me. I mean, the train is my super pump. The entire closing set piece is some of the best I've ever seen in a movie. And the fact that it is very reminiscent of a scene that we've seen Nathan Drake play out both in a game and a movie within the last 10 years. Like, it's super duper Uncharted. I think that's the one instance in which Mission Impossible does something I've seen before that I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. It's so good.
I've got big thoughts to attach to this, but I'll save it for post ads.
Yeah, let's save it for after shout announcements, which is actually right now. Shout announcements. It's the part of the show where we give shout outs and also where we make announcements. This week we want to tell you about something huge, something massive, something explosive, something plastic. It's Barbenheimer. And it's coming at you roughly 72 hours after you might be listening to this, assuming you're listening at 2:30 p.m. on Tuesday, because we will be going to see the first of those two movies, Oppenheimer, at a theater that you can only find by joining our Discord. And
it's like a speakeasy.
Yes, except it's like a type easy.
Type easy.
A type-easy.
It's much like a type easy. And then after we finish up Oppenheimer, we're all going to caravan in our little automobiles and head on over to a different theater at a different time to watch Margot and Ryan do their thing as Barbie and Ken in Greta Gerwig's Barbie, which I'm the most excited about.
I was about to say, more excited for Barbie here. Are you guys more excited for Barbie?
I think I am.
Yeah.
I mean, Oppenheimer's going to be great, but...
Yes, sure.
It really is just a Breath of the Wild Horizon Zero Dawn situation here, where unfortunately Oppenheimer, the new Nolan movie, which I'm devastatingly excited about, happened to decide to release on the same day as the Greta Gerwig directed comedy Barbie movie.
Like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like,
Oops.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oops.
Greta
Sorry.
Gerwig's Elf, basically.
It's like if Memento came out on the same day as Mean Girls. It's like, yeah, sure, but hello.
Yeah.
But Mean Girls, though.
It's Mean Girls.
What a weird double feature.
Yeah, I'm very
That's
excited.
the whole thing,
That feels
right?
like-
That's the whole point.
Yeah. No, I'm saying Memento and Mean Girls.
How is it any
That's
different?
such an interesting...
How is it any
I was
different?
about to say, that feels like a really good... another version of this double feature.
Yeah, put
Memento
it
and
into
Mean
perspective,
Girls.
right? Which one are you more excited to watch? Memento or Mean
Probably
Girls?
Mean Girls.
Yeah,
Probably
it's Mean Girls. It's unequivocally Mean Girls.
Yeah.
And you can find all of that and more, I would say, on Discord, which is available through the second tier of our Patreon. Carter, what else do they get with Patreon?
In that second tier, you get access to the Discord, as we said. You can get over there, play some box office ball, do some fives. If you don't know the lingo, it's because you're missing out. You're not in it. You just got to be there. Just got to be there, sorry. $3 tier gives you extra votes.
I do want to point out, with
extra
no input
episodes.
from us, our Discord fully cast Muppet Lord of the Rings the other day.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. It's very good. So if you want to be a part of important work like that, head on over to Patreon and punch your ticket.
And also, if you want to be able to go see movies with us. And
come on.
I would say infinitely more importantly than seeing a movie with us, there's something special about seeing a movie with a group of people that really want to see that movie.
It's
And
the
that's
community.
very
Yeah.
fun.
That's what it's
yeah,
about.
that's the best part.
Big fan. So jump on in, dive on in. The water's nice and warm. And it's not because of pee, it's just like that. So stop asking and quit looking at me weird.
We don't have that chemical.
No pee here.
The chemical that makes you see it. We don't have
You know
it.
that's not real.
Mm.
No.
It does not
I didn't know
exist.
that. Does it really not?
It really does not exist.
It
I
was
held my
it was
pee
an old wives'
for
trick.
all those times for no reason.
I know for sure it doesn't exist for two reasons. Number one is that I have read that
I
it does
pee
not
everywhere.
exist. And number two is I've never been in a body of water that I did not instantly pee in.
Oh my.
I'll let you decide if I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I believe it, dude. You pee all the time.
I pee a lot.
I've been next to you in a pool.
Yeah, I was peeing. Is it troubling for you?
A little, yeah.
Back to the show.
A little bit, yeah.
I'm going to talk about my super pump only. I hate to, load it all in the same spot, but I'm really excited to talk about my super pump because I left the theater most jazzed about this. And I haven't seen the other Mission Impossibles in a little bit, so it might have been yoinked from another one, in which case it's a collective super pump. But I'm going to super pump overall the soundtrack, specifically the drums only rendition of the Mission Impossible theme song that makes its way to our ears several times throughout this movie.
Yeah.
It just... Mission Impossible has... It's one of the rare series. There's really only a handful of them overall whose theme song fits the vibes of the scenes frequently in the movie.
You're getting everything. It's cognitive overload. You're seeing the fuse burn. It's just the classic secret agent vibe, bro.
And so when we are driving a bike, desperately trying to find a place to base jump onto a train, and it's frantic and it's scared, and we're just hearing... I'm like edge of my seat.
Great.
Yeah.
Like twiddling my thumbs, like knees bouncing, like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What is about to
Yeah,
happen?
it's really good.
And then that extends really, I thought the whole soundtrack was just so big and fun and grand.
We've had the same composer since Mission Impossible 5.
Excellent.
And because we had Danny Elfman, and then we had Hans Zimmer, and then I think we had Michael Giacchino twice.
Wow, nice.
And then we now have our current composer. And it's really good.
I'm a big
It's really
fan.
fun.
I'm a big fan of what they're doing. I think it's really excellent. And I don't know. I really was blown away. Feels wrong because it wasn't surprising. I was like enraptured by the music this movie, and I thought it really took me everywhere that it wanted to take me. But specifically, if I could boil it down, it's that drum only theme song.
Yeah.
It feels so
And
good.
I didn't even think about this would be Doja's first movie theater Mission Impossible. So it certainly is.
Hey,
It's
it was
a
my
franchise
first
that's
movie
made
theater.
for it, yeah?
Impossible.
Really?
Yeah, man. I had seen 1 and 2 and 3 like growing up quite a few times.
Yeah.
But they were already out of theaters. And then I didn't watch 4, 5, 6 until The Plague. And that is when, And then that is when I caught up on the rest of the Mission Impossible franchise.
3 through 6 were theater for me, man.
That's incredible.
I
Really
mean,
jealous.
Mission Impossible is coming out in my sweet spot, dude. It was like such a big deal.
Yeah. No, I'm very jealous.
When you can just think of like a super pixelated Ethan Hunt in your video game, it's like, there's an N64 version of you just being like, oh my God. Get around the corner, go. Like I remember the games and everything.
Has there ever been a
my
Mission
Super
Impossible video game? Because I feel like I remember that Tom Cruise won't allow his likeness in a video game because of Scientology.
There for sure was one.
Was there? Okay.
I'd have to look it up. Yes. There was.
Yeah, they
absolutely
modeled
one,
it after
and I played it.
Comtruise.
Nice.
Cruise.
I'm only saying that because I know that they wanted to get Maverick in Fortnite, and he said no because Scientology does not allow for like likenesses of yourself to appear in things.
Could be doing that, dude.
Is it a Scientology thing that he does his own stunts, or is he just like that? Is that just him? Is that a Tom thing?
You know what's funny is I've never thought about that. Like, would he not allow
man.
a stunt person to play him because it's an icon or like a likeness or something?
So the motorcycle jump in this, like motorcycle jump into base jump. Oh, there is an N64
Possible on the
version.
N64.
Incredible.
Played
Is that
that.
on the Walmart website?
Yes.
Weird.
Wow.
Free shipping by August 3rd if you want it.
Wow.
The motorcycle base jump, they shot that first. In the event that Tom Cruise died doing that stunt, they wouldn't have to finish the rest of the movie, or they wouldn't like have wasted shooting half this movie. So they shot it first in case Tom died doing that.
Can we go to the lab today?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've learned
Yes.
so much about Tom Cruise in this movie. And let me first say, I love Tom Cruise.
Same.
Some of my favorite Minority Report is so slept on.
You're the one
As a
who
great
told me to
movie.
watch that movie.
So is Edge of Tomorrow
Yes.
or Live, Die, Repeat, whatever iteration you have of it. It's
a great movie.
phenomenal. Great young Emily Blunt. And Emily needs to come back to action. Very good.
Yeah.
Tom
Might
Cruise.
I throw a War of the Worlds recognition in there?
I do like War
You're
of the
welcome
Worlds.
to. You're welcome to.
His run through the streets in War of the Worlds is the first Tom Cruise run I ever remember seeing.
Yeah. Everyone remembers their first.
Yeah.
I think Tom Cruise as a person, right, as an entity, is more closely related to Dwayne Johnson than we think.
Oh, sure. I'm already on board, but walk me through it,
No
baby.
one stands Dwayne more than Dwayne.
Mm-hmm.
No one stands Tom more than Tom.
Right.
Both of them.
It's very Gaston in that way.
Both of them have made themselves, world breakers.
Mm-hmm.
The whole world knows about them. So what happens is, any movie they're in, there's a lot of times I'm thinking about that's Tom Cruise on the train. That's Dwayne Johnson holding that helicopter gun, right? Takes me out a little bit. Whereas like the Daniel Craigs of the world, Denzel Washington, and I bring some of these people up because something else I realized. Ethan Hunt is so far from being intimidating at all to me. And let me give this to you from what I've discovered.
Because Tom Cruise is 5'6".
It's not just that. It's like I'm terrified of Daniel Craig's Bond. I don't want him to come get me.
Right.
I don't want anyone Denzel's ever played to come get me. I don't want Samuel L. people to come get me.
Remember the Jackson.
I don't want Liam Neeson to know that I took his kid. There's all these people. Bruce Willis. I don't want him to know that I got anything going on. I don't want this guy coming after me. But Tom Cruise, I've got a shot. Here's the thing, though. Ethan Hunt feels to me, and the reason it stands out in Dead Reckoning is, boy, is he barking at. He's threatening people. That is written. And I'm like, nothing.
Yep.
Liam Neeson getting on the phone in a movie that costs like $2 million and saying, I'll find you and kill you. Goosebumps now when I talk about it.
Yep.
Your quote from the beginning when Ethan Hunt says, I'll find you and I'll kill you. It's like, I don't,
Ethan Hunt,
no, you won't.
Yes. Ethan Hunt is way more Danny Ocean than he is James Bond.
Yeah.
He's really good at getting out of things.
Yep.
How fun is it to watch Ethan Hunt get his way out of an awful situation? Because it never goes right? He's smart, but he's got to be charismatic
the party
and charisma his
scene
way out of it.
in this movie. Escaping from that party was fantastic.
Yeah.
So thrilling, so fun. No, I think I agree with you. I've never been intimidated by anybody that I think I could put my hand on their forehead and keep them away from me. Listeners don't know this, obviously. I'm 6'1". We're all actually pretty tall on this podcast.
We're all big boys.
And Tom
I'm
Cruise,
5'9", I'm the squirt.
Are you 5'9", Carter?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Doge and I are actually both, I believe, 6'1", and I could eat.
So you're like Tom Cruise size, Carter.
I'm more of a Tom Cruise guy. Yeah, I bet I weigh about 50 pounds more than he does, though. But it's but great. Also, what a great movie trick that even I think that he's capable of anything.
No, I really do love Tom Cruise.
I do too.
I had that thought while he was fighting Henry Cavill in the last one. Like,
dude.
Henry
I
Cavill's
did too.
That is Superman.
In half. I think even if him and Benji keep going at it, he might not have a chance against Simon Pegg. Here's the best and worst thing that it does for me in the Mission Impossible universe, especially when we see Ilsa to be gone. The moment Ilsa is introduced, I'm saying to myself, she's better.
She's more
Ethan
dangerous.
Hunt.
Yeah.
Why is he the famous guy?
Yep.
Also, MI6 continues to use her. She's their Ethan Hunt, but we never really talk about that outside of what she owes everybody in the world. But Ilsa feels, why isn't she the leader?
I think
she feels like she's
the most all-around compelling and interesting character in the most recent Mission Impossible movies. And it's largely in part due to the fact that Rebecca Ferguson is a phenom. I mean,
she's
so
amazing.
Good.
She's got this thing. She's got what Cate Blanchett has in that for her entire life, she has felt like she's been there her entire life. Does that make sense? For her entire life, it feels like she's always been there.
It's an intensity, and that doesn't necessarily mean mean and brutish. She just has
she's born with it.
Yep.
It might. I mean, it's bone structure for one thing. It's just the way that she looks. Is just perfect for that role.
So
I hope she's not dead. But super pumped though is him escaping. That train scene was way more about him getting out of it than getting into it.
So good.
I love landing on the train. Yeah. But our I could have watched 5 more train cars fall off.
Yeah. Yep. How are they going to get through this one? How are they going to get through
the kitchen level? Now we're going through the dining room level. Oh shoot, there's a piano.
The piano boss.
Yeah, the piano boss. But that was phenomenal movie making.
The acting in that scene was one of those examples of Tom Cruise being like such a natural born action star, because his ability to freak out about like, do not look and jump right now. Do not look and jump right now. Please jump. Like it felt so tense. And I just want to say, I know we talked a little bit about Grace sort of replacing Ilsa in Ethan's eyes, and I do think that's bad writing. I genuinely do. And I don't know that Grace was necessarily given enough agency in this movie. She was really swept along by everything around her. That being said, I really, really like Haley Atwell, and I think
Haley Atwell did.
She should be in more stuff because I've liked everything I've liked her at least in everything I've ever seen her in.
Yeah,
and I think she's really she's great at being surprised, like
that's
being
good.
so shocked by the things around her.
That was such a fresh idea to have somebody in the midst of all this that would react like we would.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the driving scene was great to put us in that little Fiat. How fun was that?
That was fun.
I liked that.
And
Was
then
so
just
fun.
switching back and forth and be like, wait a minute, how did you? Anyways, just drive. You know, like that was great.
The treatment of women in this movie, now that you bring up her like getting swept along, the treatment of women as and the way that this movie sort of contextualizes Ethan's life as being defined by whichever woman has most recently passed away to give him character growth and agency is really tough for me.
Yeah.
It's like Batman,
I did not super love that. Like it very, I don't know. I don't love where they landed things with Julia, because like the whole drive of Mission Impossible 3 was to protect Julia from Philip Seymour Hoffman, and then the reveal that Julia was in deep cover. She was not actually dead. Even Jeremy Renner thought that she was dead, but she was not actually dead in Mission Impossible 4. And then it was like, we got a new director now, and we're going to kind of undo all the Julia stuff and give him Rebecca Ferguson. And then now we're going to upgrade from Rebecca Ferguson. We've been with her for a few years. Now let's go to Haley Atwell. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, the reason he became a spy was because this other woman died a long time ago. It's just like, man, there is like fridging women for male character development, character growth is really, really unpalatable.
Sure.
In something of this, like, of this high profile. It's like, how did that make it out of the studio's front doors? That's pretty crazy.
And when I refer to Bond, most of the time on this podcast, I mean Daniel Craig's Bond, which are far and away the best movies.
Superior Bond.
Does it feel like that happens there too?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do think that to give a I would say like unearned and unneeded level of leeway, I would say that it feels less like, and this is also not good, but it feels less like fridging women for character growth in Ethan, because I would argue that Ethan Hunt has been roughly the same character for 7 movies.
Which is almost nothing. Like very little like defining character. He's Dominic Toretto of, I love my friends and my family and I want to help them.
Bingo. Yeah.
And I want to do the right thing always and I've never done anything wrong.
So that's the only thing I would say here is it misguided though it may be, I don't think it is attempts to necessarily have these women experience either bad situations or death in these movies to assist Ethan really in any way.
No.
I just think that it is an outdated like damsel in distress model that we have in Mission Impossible, which is why Rebecca Ferguson's Ilsa was so fun, because she is so
because she was always a step ahead of Tom Cruise.
Correct.
Yes.
And I just love her. And that is why I refuse to believe she's dead, because I think that despite any missteps in the actual scripts of these movies, they have to understand what they have in Rebecca Ferguson. And I just think it's going to be a Letty as a double agent brainwashed situation.
I think so too. I think she is not dead, but I do think Benji's for sure dying in the next one.
No.
Dang.
Yeah.
What can I ask if that's just a feeling you have, or if something pointed you to that? Because I the only thing that sticks out to me is like what is most important to you, my friends.
Yeah, they lampshaded that, and then 3 different times in this movie they talked about like, if any of your friends should get captured or die while on this mission, their death is on your hand, or whatever. Like that kind of like thing that happens in every Mission Impossible movie. That speech. And we close up on Benji every time. So either Benji is Tom Cruise's only friend, or we're lampshading pretty heavily that Simon Pegg's going to die.
I think I interpreted that as zooming in on the guy that just revealed that friends are like his big weakness.
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
I hope not.
I think Benji's going to die.
The funnest character, bar none, in the series. And I hope
someone needs to die. I mean, it sounds awful here. It sounds very Thanos, but someone's got to die. I need somebody to die in the next one. For real.
It's not Benji.
It's gonna be.
Sorry, bro.
It's gonna be.
Bye, Benji. Bye, dude. They've already talked about
can
how
we
we
make a
don't
bet?
need him and Ving Rhames.
That's fun.
Make a bet. Yeah, we don't. I wrote that in my notes the first time we got Benji. I was like, oh, so we got new Ving Rhames. New guy in chair.
By the way, love Ving Rhames.
Great.
Is this the only thing Ving Rhames is doing right now?
Yeah, let him do it, man.
Just comes out of, leaves his house once every few years to be in a Mission Impossible.
Sure, dude. Why not? Ving Rhames feels like maybe, first of all, feels like a total cigar guy.
Yeah.
Ving Rhames absolutely
He is a
feels
cigar.
like a margarita fruity cigar back porch on a summer night kind of guy, and I can get down with that. So Ving Rhames, you got 2 thumbs enthusiastically up. I don't want
yeah.
Luther to die either. I think maybe
No, Luther's going to come out of the woodwork in the 3rd act with some acoustic plan to defeat the entity. in the
genuinely
next
would
movie.
make me so happy.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The same year that Dead, which is next year, Dead Reckoning Part 2 releases, Ving Rhames
Well, I doubt it anymore.
has another movie that he's going to be in with Hannah Waddingham, Chris Pratt, Samuel L. Jackson, Nicholas Hoult, Brett Goldstein, Cecily Strong, Bowen Yang, directed
What?
by Mark Dindal. I'm kidding you not. The name of this movie is Garfield.
No, but it's not like
What? Not like the cat
It
one.
is Garfield, 2024. Garfield. I named all those wonderful people. Your faces. They're going to be a Garfield movie. Fine, dude. I'll be rolling into the theater.
I mean, that cast is stacked.
Animated feature film based on the popular comic strip about a sarcastic lasagna loving
Oh my
cat.
God, Chris Pratt is Garfield.
That's incredible.
Chris Pratt
Yeah,
is
Chris
Garfield.
Pratt.
Yeah,
He is
I didn't even look
Garfield,
that up, by the way. I just could feel it. Hey, Hollywood, stop!
Hey, Jordan, I'm going to need you to go ahead. Can you get your phone out really
Just
quick?
cut it out, Hollywood.
Get your phone out.
Yes.
Open that selfie camera.
Sure,
Open that front camera. That's Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt is you now.
dude.
He's playing you in this
I'm really
episode.
disappointed because I actually opened it. Can we make a bet about Benji dying in the next one? Because that sounds very fun
Yeah,
to
sure.
me right now.
Yeah.
I don't know, Carter. What do you think? You don't have to take a side unless you want to. But the bet
Are you
is
serious? Of course I don't want to. This is my perfect scenario.
the bet is Benji.
You told me to
specifically.
pull the strings on a game you made up.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I don't play?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
The bet.
That's how I live most of my 2 chunks life.
The only bet here is Benji lives or dies. I'm on team lives.
I'm on team passes beyond, shuffs the mortal coil.
Carter, what do you think is a good outcome of this here bet?
What's a punishment
I think
if
it
I
should obviously
incorrectly
be
guess the fate of
podcast-centric.
Benji?
It means surely podcast centric, yes. But it's
Yeah.
going to be something that happens live and not on the podcast. 'Cause
Sure,
Here's what
yes.
I want us to do. Here's what I want us to do. We're all going to see this movie together.
Mhm.
Okay? I'm down for any excuse to hang out with you twice a year. So we're all going to see these movies together, this movie. And I'm going to buy a small fountain drink of my choice. If Benji dies, as soon as that happens in the movie, and we need y'all sitting in close proximity,
Yeah.
Jordan will grab the cup and dump it in your lap. You have to watch the rest of the movie with wet crotch.
Well, that means he would
From
dump
the
it
moment
in
Benji dies.
my lap because I'm on team
Correct.
no die.
Oh, correct. Then, sorry, yes. Doge would dump it on your lap.
Yep.
Now, the thing about for you though is we got to wait till the end of the movie. But you
Yeah.
but then he gets the drive home. wet
But I
crotch.
also would
Wet
have
crotch.
to
You dump it on
drive
it.
home with the wet crotch. So basically, this is just.
Yeah, it's a big risk. I'll find a better idea. Does the risk level feel good though overall?
No, Doge
touch
gets
harmless.
50%.
Nobody's
of
getting
the
sick.
punishment.
No, I'm saying just the dumping of the
Yeah,
soda.
that's
in
about
general.
the scale we're talking here. I think. Let's
Okay,
just maybe
how's
figure
this?
out an even bet.
How's this? More psychological
If
than
Benji
physical.
dies, Jordan gives Doge $100, and if the movie ends and Benji's alive, then Doge gives Jordan $10.
How about if I'm right and Benji dies, then we know Jordan's preference is that Benji lives. And so now Jordan has to watch every Simon Pegg movie that he lives until the end credits. And if I'm right and Benji dies, then I have to watch every Simon Pegg movie that he dies in,
There's
which I'm pretty sure is none of them.
again way less movies. No, we're not.
Right. No, I like it. Because if I lose, it's better for
Head
me.
shave.
It's less bad. Probably not.
No, I'm not even involved in it. I'm like, don't do that.
We'll find somewhere in between.
We'll find something.
Somewhere in between some drink being on for a while and some drink being on for a little bit, and then also
I could just bring a
shaving it.
habanero pepper or something. Just eat it.
Maybe let's workshop. Maybe let's workshop this a little bit.
We'll workshop
Would it be warm because it had been in your pocket?
Yeah, that's why you don't
Squishy,
want him to
warm
die.
hobby.
Let me give it a crunch of the pocket pepper.
Squishy, warm, narrow, dude. No thanks.
Mm.
Let's rate this movie using the scientific cinema scale, which is, of course, perfect. And as follows, the best thing we could ever say about a movie is own it, don't lend it.
Buy that poster.
The next best thing is buy it. That's followed by rent it and then stream it. After that is forget it. And last but certainly least, the worst thing we could ever say about a movie. God hath forsaken us.
I'll say this real quick. I mean, what I'm going to say is I'm going to rate it. I don't know why I said. Let me say one more thing. For the reasons that I've said in terms of what makes it feel a little bit less than other iterations, like I'll go through my ranking. Okay, I rent Dead Reckoning Part 1. I have a good chance, especially when we zoom in at that nuclear sub under the ice. Like we're going to have some amazing set pieces, obviously, for Part 2. And I think they're setting it up for it to be action heavy Part 2.
Save your full series ranking for the end, by the way. That's going to be our closer.
I'll save it for the very end then. So I rent it. Because I even remember things of like, simply because Ethan spared Paris's life, Paris saves Ethan's life, and the entity told Gabriel perhaps that this would happen. Wow, the entity knows everything. So like little things like that, like, oh, well, it's a rent though. I'm still spending some money on this because, I mean, it's still worth a see in the movie.
The entity is basically a quantum computer, right? Like it has run every simulation to determine what the outcomes would be. Okay, just making sure I've fully got my head wrapped around this.
Is it more interesting? Is it not more interesting though if that's like some guy if it's like some person that's the syndicate has recruited who's like a master of studying like facial like recognition patterns and like behavioral patterns or something?
Sure.
It's just more
Thank
interesting
you for
as a
asking.
person.
No, it's not. Continue.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
My goal in every episode is to make Carter uncomfortable with the conflict that I create.
I just coughed. I was laughing.
It's a low rent for me. Which is okay because I streamed all the others. But it's a low rent for me because I think it is not my favorite. And I do think that like the thing that I love about this franchise are the installments that feel so unique in their vibe and their like vision, where it's like this thing could not have happened in a not Mission Impossible movie. And I think this one had it was too diluted. It didn't have that pure essence of like, this is a spy movie that I feel like I love this franchise for.
Sure. Valid. I'm renting it, but it's a high rent. I really liked it. Obviously we'll see where it falls among the other movies here soon, but I thought it was really good. And I think that there's a real chance that it's an excellent springboard for like close to a 10 in Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Oh yeah.
I think we could do a lot of really great stuff with what has been set up here.
Absolutely.
And I really enjoyed it. I was never bored for a second. I think that Mission Impossible is maybe at its best. I'm thinking airport when we're walking through and like they know where we are, abandoned mission, get out of here, blend in. Like that kind of stuff is just so spy fun to me. And this had that in spades as well as some great action set pieces. It really did work for me, but it's a high rent. It's almost a buy. It really is. Very close. So that is our thoughts on Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1. Tune in like, I don't know, a year from now. Writer's strike, actor strike, probably more than a year from now.
Who knows?
But tune in. We'll get to it. It'll be great. Come see Barbie and Oppenheimer with us this Friday. Please jump into Discord. Find out when we're going. If nothing else, jump into Discord for the 10 minutes it takes you to find out where we're coming. Come join us. It'll be awesome. You'll love it. And we would love to see you there. You're going to see them anyway. If you're listening to a movie podcast, you're going to go see those two movies. Just come with us.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Come on now.
To end today's episode, I'd like for each of us to say our name and then give our definitive ranking of the Mission Impossible series thus far. For Two Chunks and a Hunk, I'm Jordan Wonders, that is. And number one for me is Fallout. I really do love it. It's so much fun. And I don't know, so exciting. It's like an adrenaline rush the whole time. Number two, very close number two, goes to Ghost Protocol. Which is, I think, Doge, to your point, the most refreshing of the Mission Impossible movies. It's distinctly different from anything that came before, and in a way, anything that came after, and I really like it.
Brad Bird being a hero.
Number 3 for me is going to be Mission Impossible 1, the OG. It doesn't get much better than that. It only gets 2 movies better than that. Mission Impossible 1
critics didn't like it very much.
Boo critics. Get out of here. It's so fun. It has the most camp, I think, of any of them, which I kind of wish we could get some back.
It's weird, though, because it was the origination of that camp, right? It's like...
Yeah, maybe it's retroactive.
They didn't know they were doing it. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a flavor I've grown accustomed to, and the original is great for me. Number 4, dead middle, is going to be Dead Reckoning. I think it's great. I think that it is surrounded by great movies, but it's beaten out by 3 obvious ones. And then the last, I'm going to go number 3, I think, is Mission Impossible 3. Number 2 is Mission Impossible 5. And number 1, my least favorite. I don't remember what number I started these orders. Last place is Mission Impossible 2. Boo, Mission Impossible 2.
Boo, Mission Impossible 2.
Mission Impossible, boo. You know what I'm saying?
Mission Impossible.
My list will be after yours because that's the order.
Mission Impossible.
It's true. I'm Doge, and I think that Ghost Protocol is the best Mission Impossible.
It's so good.
Followed closely by Mission Impossible 1, and then Mission Impossible 3. And then I don't know, they kind of run together for me. I think I like a lot of them.
It's crazy to me that Fallout doesn't make your top half. That's ridiculous.
Fallout is probably right after that, but then they kind of just run together for me, and with the notable exception of Mission Impossible 2 being very, very last. I haven't given much thought to where Dead Reckoning Part 1 ranks. I don't think it's my least favorite of the kind of the subtitled Mission Impossibles. I don't think it's my very least favorite, but it's I think it's probably 4th of those.
Yeah.
3rd of those.
Yeah. I'm Carter, and I'm going to go 4, 6, 1, 5, 7, 3, 2.
Nice.
4, 6,
we
1,
hate
5,
Mission
7,
Impossible
3, 2
as a group.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the world hates Mission Impossible 2.
Everybody does.
It's not even like can you believe how wild and funny Too Fast, Too Furious was?
Right.
It's
Right.
like bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
Right.
The other takeaway is we collectively really love Ghost Protocol, and 2/3 of us are super correct about Fallout as well. And I think that's sort of the takeaway here.
I don't dislike Fallout. I just do think that there are others that are much better than it.
The list would beg to differ.
Jordan's trying to eat his cake too. His good friend.
I don't have to eat it. I baked it. I can have
one of
whatever I
Jordan's
want.
favorite series and loved 90% of it as much as Jordan did. That other 10%, Jordan is not happy.
It's not unhappiness. It's what's the word?
Pissiness?
Disappointment.
Oh.
I just thought you were better.
It's pissy-pointment.
Oh, that hurts
I thought
me to
you
hear.
were better.
That's fair.